Are you a dark dreamer? Edo van Belkom clearly is. One of Canada's premier writers of terror and suspense, Edo van Belkom is a one-man factory of fear. The award-winning author of more than 160 published short stories, Van Belkom is also the author of 4 novels and several anthologies. His novels include such titles as Wormwolf, Lord Soth, Mr. Magic, and the forthcoming Teeth. He is also the author of a short story collection entitled Death Drives a Semi. In less than a decade, Van Belkom has carved a name for himself that has become synonymous with every facet of dark fiction. For Van Belkom is as skilled at writing about horror as he is at creating it. He is also the author of Northern Dreamers, a collection of interviews with Canada's top writers of the fantastique, and Writing Horror, which expertly explains how one can follow in Van Belkom's bloody footsteps. For Edo van Belkom can clearly do it all. If you had a choice, would you just write novels full-time?
You know, as a freelance writer, I often tell people, I have 1 million jobs, I get paid about $1 each, okay? And it's true, I write novels, I write short stories, I write book reviews, I edit books, I edit a book line for Quarry Press, I give talks on writing, I teach writing courses, I do all of these things, and scraping together a semblance of a living. Of course, I'd rather do one job and get $1 million for it, wouldn't we all? But yes, that's where it's headed. But I think I'm always working best when I have many projects to complete at once. So I think the pressure of doing one novel a year would be a lot for me because, you know, when you're doing 1 million things, you can screw up on a couple of them and just keep right on going. You write one novel a year and it sucks. You're in for a lot of trouble and a lot of grief. So hopefully by the time that happens, I'll be prepared for it. And I won't write any books that suck.
What gives you the reason to believe you have the expertise to write a textbook called Writing Horror?
Well, I'm the guy who can write a book called Writing Horror because I've been through a whole university program in which the university professors talked about the muse and that sort of thing. And please, I didn't learn anything, you know? I didn't come away after 5 years. I didn't know the difference between third person omniscient and first person semi-omniscient. And those are the kind of things I'm saying, okay, if I can't teach you anything else, I can teach you this. Or in my classes, I teach manuscript format. Not once in 5 years at university did anyone sit down and give you the 1 hour quick and easy lesson on manuscript format. So when I started submitting, I was doing it all wrong because I had no grounding in that. So I'm a very pragmatic writer, and if I'm going to write a book on how to write, it's going to be all the stuff you need to know. Not all of that stuff that's very hard to comprehend and to understand, even for someone who's been doing it for years. It's all the stuff that can be taught and explained in ways that can be understood. I was a big fan of your book, Dark Dreamers, and when it came out, I bought that one and Dark Visions afterward. I read them and I had them, you know, on my table next to my couch, and I looked through them all the time. And I always wanted there to be a book like that with Canadian writers, genre writers. And since there wasn't one around, I said I might as well do it. Well, when people know I write horror, you know, they look at me and say, you know, but you're so normal. And, well, that's exactly true, because I have to be normal, because I can't walk around like people would have the perception of it. I need a stable life in order to produce the craziness. But a lot of people have disdain for the horror genre, and when they say that to me, I say, well, what kind of horror don't you like? And they say, well, they don't know, because they don't know enough about horror. You know, don't you like Little Red Riding Hood? You know? That story where that little girl got eaten by a wolf and then got cut out of the wolf's stomach with an axe. You don't like that story? Or you didn't like Squirrel Nutkin by Beatrix Potter? That's a horror story too. So I think people are often judge a genre by its lowest common denominator. So when they think horror, they think Freddy Krueger. They think all those bad monsters, Leatherface and...
Friday the 13th.
Yes, what's his name?
Jason.
Jason and Chucky and all of those things. And that's what they think of, horror, immediately. But it gives me an opportunity to educate them. So I don't mind that. I can talk and sell the genre, sell myself, sell the genre. But, people, they have their opinions, and it's up to me to enlighten them, I guess.
Since you've had some experience as a writing instructor, I'm wondering what is your basic advice when someone comes to you and says, I admire what you do, I want to be a full-time writer?
I try to dissuade them, actually. I don't want to inspire anybody to become a writer, because I wouldn't wish this upon anyone. I tell my son, go into television. There's more people working there than as writers. But no, I try to dissuade them, because you really got to want it. Like we've talked about myself and why I wanted to do it. It's what I wanted to do. It was the only thing I ever wanted to do, and I did everything I could to ensure that I had the opportunity to do this. So if you're not willing to do that, you're just setting yourself up for a lot of heartache, because all along the way, people are going to say no. And you're going to work really hard on something, you're going to say no. And that is very hard to take. If you don't have the skin thick enough, then you're not going to last. Because I always look at this as the guy who ends last standing in the ring, he's the winner. And I'm looking forward to that. I've seen guys do well and then drop off, or get close and drop off because they just weren't willing to stick with it long enough. You think of Robert Bloch. He's ready for 50 years, 60 years. And how much ups and downs had he gone through in that time? And all you have to do is get to be 80 years old and still in the genre, and people will think, you're amazing because, you lasted that long. But if someone is dead set that they want to write, I tell them, read a lot and write a lot. It's the only advice I can give. I have a book with me anywhere I go, because you never know when you're going to have 5 minutes with nothing to do, so you got to read something. And to write all the time. I make the analogy, a carpenter swings a hammer, he puts in 35 nails. The 35th nail goes in so much better than the first one, and it's only due to practice and getting to know your tools. So read a lot and write a lot.
Does it help to have a supportive personality in the household?
Oh, support for a writer is priceless. You know what they call a writer without a girlfriend or a wife? Homeless. That's how important it is. So, for years my wife supported me and been the greatest thing a writer could have, and I can only hope that I pay her back tenfold in the years to come. But if you don't have that support, and even family members, because they have to understand what you're trying for, and I have to admit, early on, my family didn't understand, It was like, well, okay, whatever, because they couldn't believe it. Like I'm gonna write books, like as if, And then I had a book out, and maybe it was going to happen. And then I had more, and then they saw me on TV, and I was featured in the newspaper. Oh, okay, I guess it. And now they're proud as hell of me. But when I started out, it's like, what kind of a lunatic are you? So it's very important to have a supportive family and a whole infrastructure around you, because it's a solitary thing, and when it fails, you need someone to bolster you and pick you up, and that's very important.
Is this just a phase you're going through, as I was told as a child?
This is definitely not a phase that I'm going through. I looked at Robert Bloch, and I met him shortly before he died, and I thought, wow, he had a better run at it than I would ever hope to have, because he started when he was so young. But that's the way I want to be the grand old man. I want to be 80 years old and have people come and wheel me to conventions because they just want me to be there. That's what I want, I've often said I want to be able to make a living just by being Edo van Belkom when I'm 65. That seems kind of cocky, perhaps, but it's just the way I look at this thing. It's a long-term investment, and I'm not investing any money. I don't have mutual funds or any portfolio. The only thing I have is my body of work and my own name and personality. So those are the things I have to bank on. But definitely, I'm in it for the long haul. And I write stories that will be in it for the long haul. Not, I never write anything that's set in the day or flashy or stylish in the whatever's current. So I am trying to keep, I want to stay around for a long time because, like I said, the last guy standing is the winner. And I want to be the guy, if not the last guy, but the guy he has to knock out to win. So I have organized my entire life to give me the opportunity to pursue this dream of mine. So there's no way I could say, oh, well, you know, I thought it was a good thing, but changed my mind now. I'm going to go and look for a job in the factory, and we're going to be doing that for now. It can't. You know, you work and you arrange everything so you have the opportunity to go up and write for 4 hours a day. It has to be for the rest of your life.